For part 3 of a residential street in one-point perspective, we'll start adding in the details because they have to be lined up with vanishing point 2 in a lot of cases. So I'm going to start with the shingles on the roof, and the first thing I'll do is I'll just mark about the length of the shingles so I have a point of reference. And we have two-story houses here. We have this one and this one. So I'm going to be doing the shingles for these two at the same time first. So I'm lining up the vanishing point with that little mark, and gotta hold my ruler carefully so it doesn't slide, and I'll draw the lines for the shingles like that. See, both houses. Kind of save some time. Go on to the next mark. Like that. Okay? And then to the next mark. Oh. Alright, so we have the start of shingles for the two one-story houses. And now the next thing is to draw the lines that complete the shingles. And they all have to be parallel with the sides of the roof. And so you can do it with or without the ruler, I think, because they're just short lines, but I'll do it with a ruler, and I line the ruler up with the side of the roof there. And then I'm going to make, because shingles are staggered, they don't just all get lined up in the same row, I guess. So that's how I have to draw it. And then you scoot the ruler over, and then instead of drawing more lines here, or here, or here, I go to the next ones. So it kind of alternates. Right, so now I'm going to have to come back to these two rows here. And then move it over, and these two rows here, like that. And then move it over again, and these two rows, like that. So now you have basically a simple shingles, and it would be done exactly the same way on this house down here. Okay, now for the second story house, I'll do the same thing. Mark off where the shingles are going to be. And I won't do this one and this one at the same time like I did these two, because this one's in a little bit of a different proportion. So I'll do that one separate. So anyway, line this up with a vanishing point, and then just draw, and then line it up again. And again. Like that. And then for this one, I'll just make my marks. Well, it's really tiny, so I think I'll, there won't be room for a lot of lines here. So I made 2 lines. And I'll line those up with a vanishing point too. Alright, and then the same thing. I'll just go ahead and make the shingles like I did with this one here. But I don't know that I need to really demonstrate that part for you, because whatever I did here, you can do in all the rest of these. The next thing will be to give a more finished look to the doors and the windows. And when you're doing the doors and the windows in the converging side, that means that all of the horizontal lines have to converge at the vanishing point. And right, so I don't have much room to make a window frame on the outside, so I'm going to make one on the inside. And I've switched to a pencil with a finer lead. like that. Okay, that's the top. All right, and then I'll do the bottom one too. Okay, and then all the other lines, of course, have to be just exactly as vertical as you can get them. And it's easier if I can see the edge of the window, because then I can more accurately get the width of the frame there, like that. And the same thing over here with these. Okay. One thing that's so nice about this ruler is that I can see through it, so it helps me get a better idea of what I'm actually drawing by. Okay, so you'll want to, actually, if you can switch to a finer, like a mechanical pencil, when you're doing this part, you'll probably find it easier. That's what I did. Like that, okay. And you know, you can make the cross pieces in the windows, like if you want to make a window that has one of these things, you have to like basically make the mark where you want that middle piece to be. And then since it's horizontal, it lines up with the vanishing point. Like, oops. Lines up with the vanishing point, like I said. And then of course, if I want to make another like piece of wood or whatever going on that way, then it just has to be vertical. And I can do the same thing with these. Actually, if I could have actually done some of them all at once, because I made these windows and doors level with each other, all the same height. So I could have done that. See, I could have laid it right along here and done that like that. And you notice that the smaller you get, the harder it is to draw. See, I could actually put a window in one of these doors if I wanted to. I can make an oval window if I wanted to. Just for a little bit of variety. And then the threshold to the doors down here. I have some video lessons that go into a lot more detail with doors and windows. If you're interested, you can look those up. These are pretty basic. Now the thing is with the smaller ones that are farther away, you're not going to be able to put much detail in them, and honestly maybe you don't want to, because the farther something away is from you, the less detail you see. So there might not be a lot that you can really do with these beyond the basic drawings. Like that. We have to finish off this window up here. And again, if it's horizontal and then the converging side, it gets lined up with a vanishing point. And I can finish the lines and the shutters too. I didn't do that before. But now that I'm doing details, I will. When I get back this far, there's not going to be a lot of thickness to the wood that goes this way and this way with a window. I'll make a mark for where I want the centerpiece to be. And that's about the most you want to do with something, the smaller it gets. And put some doorknobs on. Looks a little bit more finished. All right, now in this section I'm just going to show you how to add the details to the windows in the parallel side. And that's really easy because all you have to do is square up all the lines with the sides and bottom of the house. And so when I'm drawing the window frames, and I'm drawing them inside the windows, basically I'm just making them parallel to the lines that they're next to. And just try to get the width consistent of the window frames. I know this looks a little bit funny because when I was recording this section, it accidentally got recorded in the time-lapse mode without any sound. And so then I had to slow it down. And I think maybe that's about as fast as I normally work, but my hands look jerky. So if you're wondering what's wrong with that, that's what's wrong with that. So anyway, just continue making the frames on the windows. Okay, now the shutters have usually like a frame around the inside of them, and then they have those louvers that go across. And so I decided I'm going to make those too. And so since my windows are exactly the same height, I can just put my ruler all the way across when I want to do the ones across the top and when I want to do the ones across the bottom. Otherwise, this is just kind of like making the window frame. You just move over the ruler and you make sure that it's parallel to the line that you're drawing it next to. And just Alright, so now we have the frame around the inside. And then the next step is to draw the louvers that are going across the shutters on the inside. And again, since my windows are exactly the same height, I can just do all 4 shutters at once. Just move my ruler start at the top or bottom, whichever you want to start with, and then just slide it down, make sure it stays parallel to everything, and just draw your little lines, skipping over the windows, and it won't take very long to get it done. Now during the daytime, unless there's a light on inside the house, the windows look dark inside at first glance. So one of the ways that's easiest is to just darken them all in like that. Now another detail I'll add is some brick around the bottom of the house. And so I'll start out on the parallel side with a line for the top of where the brick comes to. And then on the converging side, I have to line up with the vanishing point and draw it converging like that. And in the front side, I just make some marks, how deep I want the bricks to be, and just draw a line straight across and keep them parallel to each other. And then I just have to line the end of each one of the lines up with a vanishing point to draw the lines on the converging side of the house. Now that we have the horizontal lines for the bricks, all we have to do is put in the vertical lines. And because they're so short, you can probably get away without using a ruler for them. Now remember, bricks are basically staggered lines because of the way they're placed on each other. So you just have to remember that when you're drawing your bricks. And then when you do the ones in the converging side, remember that because they're vertical lines, they have to stay vertical. They can't really slant like the converging lines do. Okay, so there we have one detail, like bricks that go around the bottom of the house, or if you decide to make a whole brick house, that's the way you would do it. Okay, another thing you could do is you could do, siding. And, well, I'll do that on this house here. Basically what you have to do is make little marks, where each line is going to be, basically the width of the siding, in other words. And then you take your ruler and you put it on the vanishing point and then just draw. Now you have to stop at the window and then continue on the other side when you're doing it right here, because otherwise you'd be drawing it right through the window. And totally unnecessary. Once you get the hang of it, it really doesn't take that long to do it. Just have to remember that the end of the ruler that's on the vanishing point has to stay on the vanishing point. And I know it can be really easy to have it just slide off, and then pretty soon your angles are not correct angles anymore. All right, and then of course when you want to make the siding across the parallel side, you want to match it up with the siding here, and then draw it parallel to the bottom of the house. And remember to stop and jump over. There, and I could go all the way up, or I could do something different with this part of the house up there.